AnimeSecrets.org, the answer to all your burning questions.
Welcome everyone back to the Anime Secrets Declassified Podcast, JoJo's edition. I'm your host, Miguel. I'm joined today by the Capo Regime, Anthony Davis.
What's up?
Consigliere, Connor Healy.
Buongiorno.
And the boss himself, Rizwan.
Howdy, howdy.
And today we are discussing episode 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Golden Wind, in which our friend Giorno messes with bananas, among other things. All right, let's just go in order. What did you guys think of the episode overall?
Okay, hang on. Before we get to that, I love that even though I was spoiled a week ago before the episode came out on what was going to happen, I was still surprised on how it happened.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to happen in that way.
Yeah, Giorno is one cold mamma jamma, to say the least.
Giorno is like my new favorite hero.
He does have that Joestar family spirit, but yeah, guys, what did you guys think of the episode overall?
He has Dio's like freaking sadistic way of doing things.
Yeah.
Well, first off, so we start this episode and we go right into the stand fight with Black Sabbath, who they named Shadow Sabbath, who I think
it was not a bad name. Honestly.
Shadow Sabbath is cool.
I like it. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone in here was holding out for Dark Weekend.
Heck yeah. Hashtag Dark Weekend did nothing wrong.
But yeah, no, that was a very good stand fight. It kind of brought me back to the things I liked in 3 when you had kind of a drawn out, weird kind of cat and mousey stand fight.
Yep.
Because as we've seen this one, Black Sabbath can only travel through shadows, but can travel through shadows blindingly fast.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I would say probably travels as fast as Cream does in part 3, except Cream goes through like subspace, or was it also shadows?
Oh no, it was.
I don't remember.
Subspace.
Yeah. So like, already you have an extremely dangerous stand because speed kills, as we all know, and the fact that it can go between the shadows and it can jump, because I was like blown away when like, oh dude, it went into the friggin' bird's shadow and then it jumped.
That was great.
Crazy
amazing
stuff. I really love how the stand fights are gearing up. If this is what we can expect more of, I'm strapped into this for the long haul. You better believe it.
When I was watching that, when he went into the birds and then he popped up by Giorno, I was like going, Black Sabbath just said, boy, you thought.
Right?
Like, oh my goodness. I was like, man, this seems too easy. Too easy. They spot the birds. I'm like, there's no way this thing can travel as fast as those birds. Nope, it could go faster.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous, and then it was relentless.
I also like the fact that as you saw at the beginning, like with Giorno trying to like stop the air from piercing his skin, the fact that it keeps like hurting him is also like a plus. It's like, okay, so it's like it's not like what happened with part 4's name, Yoshikage Kira, where he got pierced with the arrow. He doesn't get like, oh my god, I have powers now because the air pierced me. No, it's actively not attacking him. So it's a little bit different than just being stabbed by the arrow is not enough. It's like, I feel like at times it has to choose you in a way, if that makes sense.
Right. I think in this one, it's more or less like with Kira, he was like purposefully stabbed through like the veins with the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one, Giorno is like actively trying to block it. Like Black Sabbath never once tried to stab Giorno through his hands. It was always kind of going through his hands.
Yeah.
Like Giorno was trying to grab it and hold it from piercing like kind of his head or his neck. But we figured out what the purpose of that stand was and how the test was just kind of a fraudulent test, really. It wasn't the real test, we should say. It was for the purpose of making stand users. Like, he didn't care if the lighter, if you put it out and then put it back on. He's like, are you strong enough to get a stand so you can join my gang? Which was awesome.
Yep.
So that fight was really, really good. And then we finally heard the glorious Beatdown music. 3 episodes later, it finally started playing, and
Right.
Yep.
I think I watched the episode with a bunch of friends on Friday night, and we all were just like, yes. Yes.
Not only did we get that glorious song, but we finally got our first Muda 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 Muda.
Dude, okay, so when I heard Muda 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 Muda, my first reaction was, of course the son of Dio would have that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Of course the son of Dio.
What was your second reaction?
Just how amazing the fight was.
It was a good fight.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like Connor said, it had a really good bad part 3 feel to it. But it also had like parts of part 4 it reminded me of.
Yep. Especially with Koichi.
Ah, yes. Koichi,
Yes.
my favorite boy.
So it had the part 3 stuff you're talking about with the long drawn out battle. But the part I enjoyed more was, in my opinion, I think Koichi was the more tactical of the JoJo's thus far.
That's why I like Koichi so much. Koichi is one of my favorite characters, and I never, ever, ever will squander an opportunity to gush about him.
Gush away, my friend.
Gush away, man.
Koichi, I love how Koichi is still kind of like. First off, I love his crazy height differences, because apparently that's a thing. Like, there are some scenes where he goes from like, I know the boy is short. I know he's like 5 foot something, but sometimes he literally turns into like Tyrion Lannister.
Really?
He's not that short.
He's not that short, and he's not that evil.
No. I like Koichi. I think this is actually like the last time we're going to see him in this episode, or in part 5
Season?
overall. Yeah.
I think we're gonna see him again, but not until the very end.
Maybe, but
maybe I don't know how the ending. I've not read a manga, but I don't know.
I think the way this ended up, like him say, basically, he was just sent there to investigate this potential threat.
Yeah.
He told him, not really a threat. Not really a reason for him to stay anymore, except, doing some sightseeing.
And vacationing and whatnot.
But yeah, no, I think this was probably Koichi's final episode, but that wasn't bad. Like, he didn't job out like I thought he was going to.
He had a really good ending.
He didn't get killed, thank God.
Yeah.
Now, okay, how did Koichi go in the manga? Did he die, you said?
No. He's still alive.
Thing. We just I don't think he ever says anything about like going sightseeing then going home. So the running joke is like, did Koichi ever get picked up from Italy?
Right. Is he stuck in leave forever?
Yeah. But it was a good one. And then,
well, I mean, I figure he probably would have gotten deported eventually.
Eventually. I mean, he speaks the native tongue decent enough. Thanks to Rohan.
Rohan gives me all kinds of like post-traumatic stress problems. I have a really complicated relationship with Rohan in my head.
Me too.
His ability to like make a person into a book kind of scarred me on a weird level. And seeing the zipper thing earlier in this season, having a similar effect, but not as bad. So I'm good.
I didn't really get that vibe when I first saw it. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
I don't know. I have a problem with the way I had a problem with how he could just take a person and make him into a book. And that, to me, was creepy on a fundamental level that just kind of did not sit well with me. The zippers are not too bad. Like, I can deal with the zipper thing. I think I'm used to JoJo's style stuff now, and that's why it's not so bad. But I don't know.
No, for sure. And then for me, one of my more favorite parts finally happened towards the end, where we finally saw the rest of the crew, the rest of the boys.
I'm ready.
Oh my goodness.
Huh?
Yep. Bruno came back, and he's assigned with them, and now we're about to meet his crew.
The gang.
Oh man, I'm excited. Like
Body ready as body.
Body is
Can't
ready.
wait for Narancha.
I can't wait for Mista.
Oh yeah, Miss is one of my favorite characters.
You know, that tease is like finally there. It's like, oh, all right, we get to meet the rest of the crew, and now we can really start going full kind of Stardust Crusaders, because that's what a lot of my friends have told me. It's like this one is more, whereas Mariah was like kind of on each individual story. This one is more about the crew overall, and that was one of my favorite aspects of Stardust Crusaders.
The group cohesion.
Mm-hmm. And so having something like that again, I'm like, I cannot wait to see these. Cannot wait to see these guys. Cannot wait to see their interactions. Cannot wait to see their bants. Oh my goodness. Cannot wait. And, you know, hopefully their stand abilities are as interesting as Bruno's, because, whew.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know a little bit from the manga and things that I've seen before, but I too am excited because there's actually people that I don't remember what their stand was.
Yeah. For me, I'm excited to see how they actually integrate these things into the stories, because having played the games, I have a vague sense of what they do, but I kind of want to see them in animated fashion, I guess I should say, instead of just like spamming square attack to like shoot a bullet. I kind of want to see how he was smart with it, you know, similar to how Whole Horse when he was working with the other part of the Oingo Boingo brothers.
Oh yeah.
Directing the bullet. In this one, it looks like the bullets are kind of the stand themselves.
Pretty much.
And not just that, but like from the preview, seeing the airplane stand, that looks interesting. Like, I can't wait to see these boys in action is the thing. And finally glad we get to see them. Finally glad we don't have to deal with Pablo's gigantic self.
Right.
Man, oh man, that character was getting disturbing. Like, no.
And man, oh man, was he Lee.
Yeah. And man, oh man, no one should be able to eat a pizza like that. That's just wrong.
I mean, I can.
Dude, I want more pizza.
Right.
I like lost my appetite after I saw him do that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not hungry anymore.
But pizza.
Pizza is delicious.
Pizza's always good.
Yeah.
So, wow. I lost my train of thought for a second there.
I was expecting like something else to come in your mouth, but it didn't.
You expected some other dialogue, but it was
Don't worry.
Nothing.
So
that could have taken a turn for the worse.
It could have.
Anyway, Riz, moving on.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Zionaro's like tactic for the banana.
Yeah.
So, okay, full disclosure to the audience. I accidentally spoiled myself, maybe intentionally. I don't quite know what I did yet, but it kind of happened last week. And what I read online was he makes the banana into a gun
Mhm.
and then he commits suicide by accident. So in my mind, I thought Homeboy would try to eat the banana while he's still there. But no, this happens a day later. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. Was
Yep.
not expecting that.
Well, and honestly, when I first heard the click, I thought it was like, oh, he did it to a grenade.
Yeah. That's it. Okay, so the entire room I was with, they all thought it would be a grenade, and I'm sitting here like, no, it's gonna be a gun, but no one listened to me.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone was convinced it'd be a gun, a grenade, but no.
Yeah, no. I knew it was a
And
gun.
I was expecting it to happen with him there. I thought he'd have more satisfaction seeing it happen. But he was
Nah.
perfectly content just walking away.
Yep.
Because he knew it was going to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence
Yeah.
would happen.
Oh,
Well, also, it gives him... The way it happened also gives him a way to plausibly deny having any involvement.
Exactly.
really-
I
It
wasn't
hap-
there.
Because the way it happened a day later makes it seem like, oh, he just committed suicide. You know, for no reason.
Yeah, he had a gun. He just kind of committed suicide. He started being fat and stuck in a cell. Which brings me to a really interesting question. Now that he's gone, how did he turn into a bed?
We will never know.
Probably just a weird one-off ability of the stand.
Well,
my
okay, so
apologies on that.
hey Miguel, we're talking about why did Polpoff have the ability to turn into a bed when his stand was what it was?
I don't think he had the ability to turn into a bed. I think he just camouflaged that well because of how big he was. Like, I'm almost willing to bet there wasn't even a actual mattress on there. It was just like the base of the bed. Like, I don't know what that's called. It's like the thing above or below the mattress.
The box spring?
Yeah, the box spring. Like, I'm pretty sure it was just a box spring, and Pablo looked like a mattress. That's how massive the dude was.
But like, whenever he got up, there was no more bed left at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how big he was.
What, like, so he sat on the bed and the bed
Just flat.
vanished? Flattened away?
Yeah, the bed was flatter than what people think the earth is sometimes.
Oof, that hurt.
So honestly, like I think that was just more done for comedic effect than actual like is his stand ability to turn into a bed.
Well, so whenever I saw that, my gut reaction was, Homeboy is a shapeshifter. I never once considered watching last week's episode that it was actually due to him having another ability. Like, I thought he was a shapeshifter. I never thought he'd have, like, the candle power or whatever.
Nah, like I don't even think that. I think the way it works was his automated stand was work to the lighter itself. Like as soon as it would go out, it would appear. Like that was the trigger for the stand to appear. That's
Yep.
how it activates.
Yeah.
And because it's an automatic stand, he's not really going to feel kind of anything from it. You know, that's why whenever they're beating it down or kind of crushing it with Act 3, Popolo didn't feel anything.
Interesting.
So,
Well, and maybe he's just good at hiding or something, because he'd pulled that trick with the lighter, remember?
mm-hmm.
He, like, made the lighter appear, so maybe he's just, like, good at sleight of hand.
I mean, there is
And,
a
like,
reason.
good at hiding.
There is a reason why Bruno reported to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, he probably knows a thing or two.
Indeed.
So the way
So-
the fight ended, or did
Yeah.
you guys discuss that while I was away?
No, I had a completely different tangent, which we'll hold off until later on.
Gotcha. I'm still a little bit lost on Giorno's stand abilities overall. Like, I understand that, you know, these are probably ones that are still developing, and he's learning as we go on as well. but it's like, man, was he able to like have his stand reach that deep underneath the dirt to touch the root for the tree? Because he's like, I wanted you to do that so I can touch the root. I'm like, man, all I see is dirt, homeboy. I don't see any root right now. Though I could chalk that up to the animation, because if there was one thing about this episode, there were some shots that just looked a little bit poorly drawn. Specifically the ones where they don't have any features on their faces.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of those.
Yeah.
Well, like, as far as how could
A
he
bit
reach the roots, I don't think that's too difficult, because remember the first time Jotaro fought Kakyoin, he was able to make Star Platinum like super small and go into that lady's mouth. So maybe like some stands can just like change size.
Oh, is
Like
that
they're just
how
able to snake. They're
is
just
that
able
how
to
it did?
snake
I
their
thought he
way.
just like kind of like reached in and pulled out Hierophant Green. It's been a while since I've
Oh
seen
yeah, I think that
part
was it.
3.
Well,
Because I know for Hierophant and Silver Chariot, they made him go super small to get the lovers from
Yep.
Joseph. So maybe they did just shapeshift. I think I'm just gonna chalk this up to it just like managed. It has a longer reach than we give it credit for. Because there is no way Giorno could have reached that banana like within arm's length. So maybe just Gold Experience has a little bit bigger reach.
Well,
That or he used
I would say that because he had his eyes closed, like Popo didn't see Jono's stand, so I'm guessing his stand was ours, which they maybe can do that. I don't know.
But
I don't know how range goes when it comes to like somebody being
right
near someone with cage in front of them.
But I did love how Giorno was like, Koichi, can I get you to move to the side real quick?
That was pretty great.
Like at the end where it was just toying with Black Sabbath. I'm like, man, this Giorno. Oof. Unlike Josuke and Jotaro, who just straight to the point and punch down, he's got a little bit of Dio sadism in him, that's for sure. But yeah, no. Any other thoughts you guys had on today's episode or this last episode?
So here's a tangent that I was going to bring up earlier, but I held off on it.
Okay.
All right. Tangent away.
Okay. So part 1 JoJo's focused on Dio and Jonathan doing their little thing, right?
Right.
Then part 2 dealt with Joseph cleaning up the mess left behind by Dio and all the mask and all that stuff. Makes sense logically, right? Like,
kinda. There really wasn't a mess to be cleaned up.
I mean, it was more like a problem to deal with.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, like there's stuff going on, artifacts of what happened in part 1.
Right.
Now, part 3, we had Dio come back to life, and we had to have events from part 1 and part 2 fuel part 3.
Correct.
To make what happened in part 3, I think. Then the direct actions of 3 influenced 4 with the arrows and the making people in the stands and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from the fact that we figured out Giorno is Dio's son, which I'll get to the family tree later on at some point in my life because I don't want to process that right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to go through. I'm just going to inform you right now.
It makes sense, but it is so weird. Anyway, I find a lack of real connection of why did part 5. What is the point of part 5? I think it's going to come later, but so far I'm not seeing a huge connection between the past and the present, like I did for the other ones.
I kind of have a prediction.
Okay.
So you know how they said that Yoshikage, that the Nijimura brothers got the arrow from Enyaba. She had more than one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that somebody managed to get a hold of the others. And that's their connection to the other parts. Because there's no way Poplo just his stand generates a stand arrow.
That's true.
Because like once Poplo was dead, you saw the stand arrow in his cell. Like he gave the stand arrow to his stand to kind of store it and to create a.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume that that's how they're connected. It's someone got the arrows from Inyaba.
Yeah. Well, and plus the whole like you can give your stands commands. I don't see why you could just because we know you can be like, look at this photo, go find this person.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like, take this thing and stab people with it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going to assume the connection is the arrows themselves, and we, much like in part 4, we may not have seen the last of it.
Well, and we may or may not see other previous character from the past parts, but I'll get it to myself.
Don't be a tease, Anthony.
I'm expecting we're going to see Zotor again at some point.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. But that was a random tangent. Beyond that, I have nothing else to really say.
Oh, but I totally Riz on the whole fact that, like, you know, why is part 4 made? I mean, like, let's say part 4? I may say part 5. Part 5 is,
5.
You know, yeah. But then again, like, part 6 is heavily, way more involved with stuff going on the Joe Stars than here. Trust me.
Yeah.
To me, it's like you can tell parts 1, 2, and 3 were kind of designed to be a trilogy. Like they worked off of each other. And parts 4 and 5 right now kind of, I'm not going to say spin-off, but they kind of just don't derive as heavily from its previous parts. So they're more free to be their own thing.
Right.
Which is good because you don't want to keep tying it down to like a single entity. As much as I love Dio, it's like nice to kind of break away from his influence. So
kind of like when Power Rangers stopped using reoccurring characters from past season beyond the next season.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like nice to kind of like not restrain yourself to like the past characters. It's nice to still reference them and see them, but it's nice to move on and kind of have, you know, how it's nice to like not have the same thing be about fighting an evil vampire. Because that's what parts 1, 2, and 3 essentially boil down to. Main hero fighting vampire.
So here's where I agree and disagree with you. I agree that it's great to see the characters in passing, but I think Koichi had more to offer as a character, in a way. So Koichi spent a lot of part 4 just kind of developing himself and becoming who he was and all that, right? But now Koichi's a trained veteran stand user, quote unquote. So it would have been nice to see Koichi kind of go a different route with Giovanna to like maybe mentor him or stick around and help out or do something more than that.
I think for what his role was, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said in the last review, had he stayed on, I would have gotten killed.
Yeah, he about got bodied by Black Sabbath.
Yeah, no, I like Koichi's cool and all, but like these guys in Italy are on another level.
Yeah.
Also, even
especially
as a fighter,
if he fought the boss himself, he got destroyed.
And even as a fighter, Koichi's taking more L's than W's. Like, even if he's gotten better, like his stand is still not really meant to be the fighting kind. It's more of the delay kind.
Yeah.
So, and if he got bodied by Black Sabbath, which if JoJo's taught me anything, there's always a bigger fish. I can't imagine what the other stands are like, and I can't wait to see what the other stands are like.
It's
And-
kind of funny that like there's actually a reference to what you say about bigger fish. There's an actual reference to that in later episodes. Well,
Ooh.
yeah. I can't tell you what it is yet though, because you have to figure it out.
Hey, I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
So, any hopes for next week's episode, or I guess when this goes up, Friday's episode?
I want to see
I'm
some.
gonna try and
I want to see some solid mob jobs, man. I want to see some crimes.
Yeah. It looks like they're chasing after his treasure, so let's see
Yes,
some breaking and
treasure
entering of Pablo's
treasure
house,
hunt.
baby.
hey, it'd be great.
What were you gonna say, Anthony?
Oh no, just it like I would say this would be like one of the best treasure hunts ever. Because like
Alright.
what they find is actually really when it's like something you never would expect.
Is it the friendship they made along the way?
No, it's actually something like more. It's more use. It's like an actual actual thing.
Oh, so it's an actual thing and not just a lesson.
No.
Oh, nice.
It becomes very useful.
All right. We're just gonna go down the line and give our final thoughts. Anthony?
Overall, I love this episode like way more. I love this part, but I do love this particular episode because we get to see JoJo be clever. We see Koichi used to have his last moment to shine. We see the really nice heart lesson about how JoJo has a way of handling things.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I love this show. And I love fighting gold. And I love waking up to
Connor?
Well, it delivered once again. It gave me everything that I wanted it to give me. You know, we got a solid stand fight with one of my favorite stands with one of the best designs. We got a really good intense fight. We've got new gang stars rather, coming up around the corner. So let's keep this JoJo train rolling. I'm excited.
Riz?
So I am most excited next week to see the new members of the gang and kind of get to know who they are, because I have heard that there's a lot of amazing gems to be found here, but I don't know much more beyond that. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and I'm also excited to see like just more JoJo. But I gotta say, this week's episode was really good. Like I said earlier, it brought up a lot of good like surprise elements for me, where the banana and all that was well done. Top tier episode, 10 out of 10 would do again.
Yeah, for sure. Like after the building up that episode 3 did, I'm glad the fight in this episode freaking delivered. It was fun to watch. It's like, oh man, it's 3D chess all over again. Who's gonna make the first mistake? Who's gonna let their guard down? Decide what's gonna cost them down? And like I've been saying all podcasts, I cannot wait to see the rest of the boys. They've been teased all summer. Bring them on, because I've done slight spoiler. If you've ever gone to a JoJo's pose panel in any con, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't wait to
Yeah.
see that part animated.
Yeah.
It's coming up soon.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh. Well then. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap up this week's episode. We'll catch you guys all next week for episode 5 when Giorno meets the rest of the gang. So for Anime Secrets Declassified, we're signing off. Say goodbye to the beautiful people, everyone.